And here we go with a new 3.25 Settlers rerun with the Lantern. Now, obviously, I don't really like the Lantern, but I'm down to go again. As you saw in the first portion of the, showcase, the build I was using was missing 4 entire items. However, it's really missing 5 because this is a 1 mod item and this is a 2.5 mod item. Okay, so as you can see, I have provided you the bare bones baseline performance that you can expect, and any gear that you have that is better will only improve the build. So I will showcase you the absolute bare minimum. Great. So let's go straight into it. We go into the PB right here, and we go into our loadouts for tier 1. So even though it's a tier 1 loadout, I have showcased it in a T16 ultimatums and T16 expeditions, just to prove the point, right? Now, what you really want to be making sure is that we need at least an immutable and a blood notch. And I should have edited this to be a 50% blood notch. We want 50%. The reason being is that the interactions with petrified blood, so we go back here, petrified blood is that 40% of life loss is prevented. And that means that you take 60% of damage from hits. Okay? So you take 60%. But on blood notch, we only need 50%. Did I not save it? Save. We only need 50% here, plus 10% here, to give us that 60% recovery to be considered, quote, hit immune, okay? Now, you could go a little lower, but ideally, you really want 50%, okay? You want 50%. Now, this T1 section is a very close pathing to Pox's RF. So, of course, in the notes, we see we want to follow Pox's builds for Pox RF. As you can see here, that's you can see, go to his sites to view his league start. And I would say around 85 here, although I should be cool, yes, so around 85, we can move towards our intended Castwind Sun setup. Now, there is one additional thing. This league, I have decided that instead of confusing everybody with 2 different videos, one for Ultimatum and one for Simulacrum, I will give you the transition here for you to be prepared. Now, this is, day 1 bare bones garbage gear, besides the 2 jewels. You could honestly skip immutable if you really feel like it. But you do need blood notch, for sure. And I saw last league, or this league, a lot of people did not do their full ascendancy. You do need to do your full ascendancy first before you turn over. Okay. And now I'll show you the gear and setup for the second half of the showcase where we used our T16 setup. So here is the improved version, our T16 setup, even though we're doing T16s anyway. Now, as you may have seen, the gear shown is a white scepter, right? Literally a white scepter. A magic helmet. 1 suffix, 1 prefix. A magic amulet. 1 suffix, 1 prefix. And we have some sack gloves this time, some real gloves, so fire res, chaos res stats, and cold res, chaos res intelligence. Now this is cold res because it offsets the Valerium here. This time, however, we are no longer using Rise of the Phoenix. That is because we are using Prism Guardian. Turns out Prism Guardian synergizes very well. Now to showcase what I really mean is that because this reservation gives us a little bit of edge, so if we see our RF, we are actually at 56% unreserved life. Just enough, meaning if I use this slot here, it will be enabled the entire time because we are not actually healing to full, right? There's actually a gap here. You can't see it, right? You can't see it, right? So We are actually very well balanced here. Very well balanced. So straight to PB again. We can go from T1 to T16. Now this time, the gear here is a bit more planned, right? A bit more prepared. So obviously we need Hateful Cursor. I know last time I used Hateful Cursor in the simulacrum video. However, it was a little confusing for a lot of people. So to emphasize once again, we want to make sure we follow this build here. We want to get the components ready first before swapping over. Otherwise, you may end up bricking your build if you don't understand the mechanics for this build. So, very important. Okay, very important. Now let's go through the mechanics. Number 1, shield. Why do we use Archon Shield? The reservation here is great as a placeholder for our eventual end game, late game recombination shield. So this shield can be crafted easily through recombinators, but we can use a Prism Guardian in the meantime for day 3, day 2, early league. Okay, number 1. Number 2, why do we use Hateful Cursor? So to explain briefly, Hateful Cursor gives us Penance Mark. Okay, Penance Mark is a mark which you can spam on top of your cursors, meaning you do not need a second curse. We do not need Whispers of Doom because this applies it in a way where it is unaffected by curse limits. Okay, that is the first part. Second part, we have Defiled Forces. So Defiled Forces allows us to refresh the duration of Ignite, Chill, and Shock on enemies you curse. So I am about 85% sure that you curse means you actually have to manually curse. But obviously, because we curse really quickly, it doesn't really matter. And you don't get stun locked by using Penance Mark because there's no animation really when you actually cast it. So that's the second part. Now, when enemies hit you, you will cause phantasms to spawn. So what is the issue that you have to solve? Here, the phantasms can often be too far away for you to kill. So we need to get area effects. This leads us into the 2 items we really need to begin with. One is a medium cluster with expansive might. Okay, so I just automation spam this, and good enough on its own. So what does it actually do? So on PUB, we can see that expansive might gives us up to 50% AoE, huge for one node by standing still. It is not connected to using a scepter, mace, or staff. It is only a second line independent. Okay, ideally you have towering threats or assert dominance as your second modifier for this node here. Now moving on to our second jewel, it is our fire jewel. So for the build, a lot of people seem to misunderstand the reasoning for our 6 link cast on stunned. So the main goal here is Wrapped in Flame. So in game, I luckily just reforged fire on Harvest Station. I got my Wrapped in Flame and a Kiwi blowback. Okay, the priority is Wrapped in Flame. So Wrapped in Flame makes it so that you have a 5% chance to cover enemies in ash on hit while you are burning. Okay, now in game we can see RF makes you, so RF as you are always burning. Okay, now the second component of this is it says on hits, right? On hits, not on the knights, not on fire hit, not on fire damage, on hit. So to facilitate this, we use our cast when stunned on our 6 link to add in skills that trigger quickly and hit things as much as possible, right? So Flame Surge is here for damage. We want to use a normal Flame Surge and not Transfigured. Normal Flame Surge. Reading the gem explains the gem. We have Firestorm Repelling and Frostbomb. You can also add in some other ones such as our skills here. I have a 6 link key prepared for you. Right. Am I blind? Right here, right here, right here. Some other options you have is Stormbrand, Item Rarity Support, Cascade, Blade 4. You know, take your pick, right? They're all good. I prefer to use Frost Bomb because the utility is very good. When you use Frost Bomb, it gives you 75% reduced life regen rate, and when combined with this mastery here, nearby enemies do not recover life, do not regenerate life, which is very good in some situations. So that is our Castle Sun body armor. Now, that is the main baseline for the build. And as you can see, even in 6 mod Exiles, and I'm talking about real Exiles here, we're talking about a full Atlas Exile, the performance is actually, for me, amazing. Because I did not expect the performance to be this good. We have our great gear to use. And yep, I am very pleased with the performance of the build, especially for Exiles. I mean, it's slow, but it's not too slow, and it is just, you know, reliable. And you can actually just swap it in one of the traps later on for rarity. I may do a setup there, we'll see. I'm not sure, right? You can just start doing Magic Find pretty easily. Now, this setup is pretty much all explained, including the different tree, right? The tree has different pathing to facilitate the requirements. Okay, now I have also prepared a version that is about mid-game-ish that is maybe just able to do simulacrum, and that is our T16 recomb. Now, early game, we don't have access to Recombinator yet, right? The Recombinator is too hard to access, and I have provided gear templates here that will eventually be used in simulacrum, and they will be easily crafted through the Recombinator. And it's important to have them here so you can have a goal to go towards when you want to look for upgrades, right? These items are all upgrades to anything in the previous build. They are just better. You can simply just swap them out, right? And improve. And hopefully I will have a video for simulacrum once again when the time comes, and to give you a full breakdown on how to transition into simulacrum. But for now, this is a very powerful build. If you can reach this threshold when you finish your town and you get the recombinators online. Okay, for league start, this is one of the plans I think I may pursue. So this was given to me by a viewer on stream. Basically, we're gonna pursue our map atlas completion and do some harvest at the same time. And we will also use Nico for alterations, because this build needs a lot of juice and alterations to get going, right? I know it's kind of like an SSF kind of thing, but I feel like the economy for this event might be quite strict, right? Because there might not be enough players playing. So this is going to be an option that I will probably pursue as league starts. I'll leave the link in the description. And for our actual Ultimatum League, it is simply. Oh, do I have it? It is simply our Ultimatum nodes here, of course, and cut out all the stuff that we don't need for quantity and so on, that we can't reach. Okay, and if you want to, you can do expedition. I feel like expedition is quite quick and is a pretty efficient source of money. Don't be like me for Gwendolyn. Go for something else better, right? For me, Gwendolyn, it's just gambling, right? It's just for the fun, for the memes. Yep, so this is the atlas. Unfortunately, I don't have a link, but here you go. Full tree, easy to see. And that is going to be the atlas. Okay, brand new Ultimatum tier list. Based on feedback and personal experiences, this is the new tier list for 3.25 rerun. Okay, Now let's start with exceptions first. Mage Blood / exception. This is one of them is Drought, which is you don't take, and the other one is Hinder, which you is either free with Hinder immunity or absolutely do not take if you do not have Hinder immunity. And the other one is Overwhelming Monsters. If your build struggles with Overwhelm, then don't take it. But in my opinion, it belongs in free. Okay, in my opinion. But for you, maybe it is down here. Okay. Now we'll go over some few changes. One, Blistering Cold is no longer free. The reason being is that the apostles that are spawned, they actually do a non-stunning hit on you, which is quite dangerous because it means it doesn't proc your blood notch. So I swear in the past it did, but at least this league it does not. So that's risky. So I would for sure put Blistering Cold into moderate, and for Blistering Cold 4, take if you must, right? Take if you must. For the most part, everything else is same. Unlucky criticals is here. Yeah, unlucky, and these ones you never take. So guaranteed crits, prismatic, ruin, recovery. There is one thing that's annoying that I'm gonna move up actually. It's the charges, and the 2 totem of costly mites. These 2 totems, they don't actually. It's not actually that bad, honestly. So, for the most part, not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. This one here, however, Soul Blades, you can take 1, 2, and 3, but because you even take them in the first place, it means you are progressing towards 4. And 4, you absolutely do not want 4. 4 is very, very, very bad. And that's basically it. So, the screenshot will be there for you. Oh, Blood Altar. Shit, which one's Blood Altar? Oh, this one's Blood Altar. Okay, my bad. Blood Altar. Okay, yeah, do not take. Just do not take. Blood Altar, do not take. It's horrendous. My bad. Yep, and that is the that's the finalized tier list for this league. I am happy with this. Yep, thank you and enjoy. Okay, FAQs. Frequently asked questions. Now, over last league and this league, the questions have been raining in, and even though I have explained them, some things I didn't explain clear enough. Now, first things first. Why Hinder and why you have to take Hinder? The reason is actually because of a monster called Trial Titan. If I still have him. This guy here is the big tall guy with a spiky head. When you are hindered, he will in fact hit you with a non-stunning hit. And as I have explained, we need stunning hits on us to recover our life instantly. But if it's not stunning, and then you just die, right? So that is the primary reason. Honestly, the only reason why you need to have a hinder immunity. Next up, it is petrified blood level and quality. So a lot of people were complaining that the builds that they have were not performing. So I have 2 gems here. Level 1 PB with no quality, and 2120. Okay, 2020 is fine. Okay, 2020 is fine. Now, if we look carefully, there's only one difference here. It is the second part of prevention. It says, then 100% of damage is prevented over 4 seconds, right? This one is 75. Now, quick maths, right? If we take 40% damage, is the third over 4 seconds, right? 40% is a full 40%. But at level 2020, it's 75%. That means, actually, we're only taking 3/4 of 40%. 3/4 of 40% is 30%. 30%. And our recoup on the tree is 6, 6, 12, 18. 30% recoup. And recoup is over 4 seconds. Okay? So we have 30% recoup over 4 seconds. this exactly balances out this degen here. So we are break even on PB this way. But if we have a level 1 PB, we actually will need 40% recoup to sustain the balance here. Obviously, you could get a recoup jewel or get recovery somewhere else, but that's unnecessary, and I feel like it's a waste of time. But it's important to point it out. Very important to point it out. Okay, next question. Pantheon. Oh my god. Pantheon. So I said to take 1 and 3 only. By taking 1 and 3 only, I mean I want the first line and the third line. And we don't want Sebet, and we don't want it that fell. However, it is not the end of the world if you have them. I would say the benefit to not taking them is that projectiles that have chained and avoiding projectiles has no impact on the build because we are considered hit immune, and projectiles are hits, right? They are hits. Now, if you have taken them and you want to get rid of them, you just run the same map, right? So I think it's Frozen Cabins. I don't know the map, right? Let's say a random map. Map. This map here, and let's say this Tokusua is it that fell. It's underground river. It's underground river. Right. It that fell. Right in here, we get our shards, our vessel. We'll run the map again, and this will undo the Pantheon here. We will revert it, and yeah, linear. Good point. Definitely do not take Brian King. So many people had Brian King on, and well, if you look carefully, you cannot be stunned if you've been stunned or block stunning hit past 2 seconds. This completely bricks the build. It's cast when stunned, right? Cast when stunned. This, you can't get stunned, so do not take it. And yeah, we have this one here, critical, very good for our second Pantheon. Now, our next question is Ignite Chance. So, this league, as you may have noticed, our Ignite Chance for tattoos went from 10C to 170C each. That is insane. Okay, so if this situation occurs again, right? The option here is for this flask here. The increased armor during effect, we don't really care. Okay, armor to me is not that important on this build because we have enough phase reduction anyway. Now, you can actually get the suffix of Ignite Chance, Freeze Chance, Shock Chance on the suffix here. And this will give you a huge boost in Ignite Chance for global, right? It's a huge benefit there. Now, Trial Master. So Trial Master is actually bugged. It's been bugged ever since Affliction when they came back, right? What do I mean by bugged? I mean that when you go into the fight, your flasks do not the enchant doesn't activate. So even at full charges, the flask doesn't get used. So you have to manually press every flask in the Trial Master. Okay, just something to remember. Next up, endurance charge wear. Oh boy, many questions. So endurance charges for us is gained through inexorable. Inexorable gives you as you can see, endurance charge and hits, and because we are cast when stunned, we are always getting hits, and we always maintain endurance charges. Next up, life tap. Oh my god. Okay, so Pox RF, he has life tap on his skills because it gives him the buff on the bar, right? We have a life tap over here. Life tap support. Please be, yep, here we go. Let's say we put in punishment over here, right? Cast punishments here. If we use this, we will get this buff, right? We get the buff. Now, for his build, we can see that initially, This 4-link RF has a life tap and Superfliction as a source. So if we go to RF, right here. No, wrong one, sorry. Let's rock with this. Here we go. If we turn on Superfliction now, it has no effect, okay? Because Superfliction is duration, and there is no duration on RF. However, if you have life tap, it gives the duration tag to RF, meaning Superfliction is enabled. So we turn on life tap, buff is active, gives more damage. We turn on Superfliction, now this duration tag applies to RF. That is the reason why. And because we don't cast RF, we need to cast some other skill to give us this buff over here. T for life tap to give you the damage for RF. So this is mainly for Prox's RF build. Okay, next, Wrapped in Flame. I did explain it. Fulcrum pros and cons. So Fulcrum is good and bad. I say this because, in my opinion, it is a good thing to carry around your ignites. However, you can only carry around one ignite at a time, and you cannot refresh a stronger ignite on yourself. As far as I'm aware, I've never seen it happen. So when you get ignited, that's it. Your ignite's on you until it goes off. So the inconsistency of Fulcrum, for me, doesn't feel great to play with, and I don't like it. As well as the fact that because of the 2 and staff, you can't use shield charge, and you have to use leaf slam, which is really bad. You can use phase run, of course, but honestly, up to you. And losing shield is pretty bad as well. Losing the set is pretty bad. You lose a lot of damage, right? It is a huge trade-off to use Fulcrum. Next up, what's left? Okay, Block and Bloodlodge. Oh boy. Alright, so Fulcrum. Sorry. Oh, my brain. My brain is going to fucking shreds. Svalin, right? Svalin is a shield that essentially gives you 88 block. Okay, that's good. But it is not good for cast when stunned. That is because Bloodlodge is in fact considered instantaneous recovery. Okay, so life lost and life gained is instantaneous, and you will never lose the life ever. You will be always a full life. So for those who play Magic the Gathering, same analogy. State-based actions, right? If you take 5 life while life linking 5 life, you are never at 0 life. You are always at break even, at full life, right? Or whatever life. So in this aspect, when you block things, you don't actually do anything. Sure, you can block something, but you never would have taken the damage anyway, right? It's redundant. It's completely redundant. Now, I will acknowledge that for other builds that are not cast when stunned, very great, very good. And I will acknowledge for utility, it is also very good. So there are some builds that are more focused around Gruul and Gauntlets, right? So they want to use Gruul and Gauntlet here. And oftentimes, Ruin is a very, very, very common. And to deal with that, they will use a Svalin to try block those attacks, which does work. However, I have seen many people say that they still lose the ultimatum because Ruin 4 attacks so quickly that you will get 7 Ruin anyway. So yeah, I mean, do as you please, but I'm just explaining to you why this anti-synergy is not worth the investment, in my opinion. But again, do as you please. Anything else? Exposure. Alright, so in game, we are considered 87% fire res. Okay, sorry, lightning res, and we are 20 over cap, so we are 107. Now, exposure is very common in Ultimatum. Exposure gives minus 25 resistances, meaning we go from 107 down to 82. And 82 is below our cap, meaning we lost 5 res. Okay? Yes, I use a flask, we are overcapped. But we're going to make sure that we are overcapped by 25%, as much as possible, right? Making sure we are overcapped for exposure. Because it's very dangerous. Very, very dangerous. Okay, Prolif versus Ignite Spread. Ignite Spread is available in settlerlessly on the sword. Sword enchants, Ignite enemy, inflicts Ignite debuff. This is the same as Barrack's Respite, I think. And Aberrat's Hooves, same thing. In my experience, I think Prolif is better. Except for very, very specific circumstances. So if you are in a very high density map, let's say you're doing Delirium, Breach, monsters everywhere. Like there's no gaps between monsters. Then this sword is very strong. The enchant is very strong. And you can use it. No problem. However, this actually conflicts with Prolif because from testing, Prolif takes priority, and when you Prolif an enemy, you can't actually spread Ignite anymore. So it's one or the other, as far as I'm aware. But for the sake of the just in case, I do use both in some of my videos because I just don't know, right? If it works, it works, and that's all that matters, right? If it works, it works. I would say for Ultimatum, absolutely, Prolif is priority. Prolif is better because the Prolif stays in the ground and it kills the monsters as they spawn. Very good. Same with Simulacrum, and same with other mechanics where you are spawning in monsters. Prolif is better. Now, should you not go for this? Well, it's very cheap, so you can still go for it if you want. I run it together because I have a tinfoil that still works, but I don't really know. And flask suffixes. So as you can see, these flasks, we have shock, CB, poison, and damage taking leeches life. Now these 4, we can actually move them around. Surprise, 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 surprise. We can move these suffixes to a different flask. So makes it easier for you to craft flasks and to buy flasks by moving them around. Because obviously, if you have a flask that's Amethyst flask with immune to poison, it's going to be more expensive because it's a chaos flask with poison. It's good, right? It's very good, but we don't really care. We don't care. So always look for cheapest, and you can move them around, and hopefully that answers every FAQ that I got in this league. Maybe I missed something. Hit me up in stream. This was a pretty much a rushed version of the guide because I wasn't going to plan to do this league, but with some friends turning in, I am pretty excited myself as well. So I will see you on league start, and if you want questions, hit me up on my stream or ask questions down below if you want. And that's it. See ya in the league.